My name's Jeanette, and I'm really happy to be here with you today. I'm just going to ask you a question. Who's heard, put your hand up, who's heard it's all in your head? What about you don't look sick? And then what about you could lose a bit of weight? So we've all had that same treatment where people are just not acknowledging that we are actually unwell, and that becomes problematic for us because it creates this, you're second guessing yourself. You're saying, am I sick? Because everyone else appears not to know that I'm sick and I'm just about screaming in pain. So that's one of the things that we need to do, is to manage our bodies and manage our minds and have strategies to help us feel better, do better, manage better. And some of those things are helpful. Yeah, we probably could lose a few pounds, not necessarily because of weight, but because our diet will help with our mitochondrial and things like that to help us. So we need to have nutrition rather than diet, in my opinion. And start with CBT. CBT is cognitive behaviour therapy. It's a type of psychotherapy or a talking therapy based on the idea of how you think and act affects how you feel. So it helps you with both mental and physical problems. So how does it work? We generally are making a choice of what we want to do in the beginning of the therapy, and it might be to feel better or to have more control over your illness and your body. So once you've got those goals in mind, we then work through how to achieve that. And there's quite a few things I'll show you that you can use. Another thing is grief and loss. Disability and chronic illness are quite depressing. So we all have this goal as we were younger. We're going to do this with our lives. We're going to be triathletes or whatever. We all have goals. And some of us, we sort of are at the stage where we can't go play with the grandkids or go out at night to an event because we just don't have it. So we need to deal with that grief a lot and say it's okay not to be okay. If you're not feeling well, you shouldn't feel compelled to have to go and do something because it's often not in your own best interest. The other thing that's really helpful is support groups. So I've got to say that these ladies are doing a great job. And the reason support groups are so good is that you're not alone. You're not isolated in your room, eating chips and drinking Coke because your life is just so shitty that you can't even get up and make breakfast, so you want something easier. Especially good that you're not alone, that there are other people, not information to another. I say information because I don't believe we should preach. I don't believe we should be saying you're doing this wrong. We can just say, I did this and it worked for me. Because we're not all doctors or we don't all have degrees in what we're talking about. So we have to be mindful that is a thing. Pain. Anxiety and pain are big issues with chronic illness. Pain is like our everyday, it's like we have a friend but they're not very nice. And they're with you constantly and they're bitching at you the whole time. So how do we deal with pain? And for me, everything should be a multimodal approach, by which I mean we have a doctor and the GP is in charge of our overall health. So, and he's the one who coordinates what you want. So it's up to you to say, you know what, I wouldn't mind going to a pain clinic because I'm not managing my pain as well as I'd like to. And I'd like some help, or I really need to see a physio because I'm not coping with walking around the block. By the time I get round once, I'm done in and my knees are shot for a week. So you've got to find these specialists and they'll help you. One of the things I got told was walking around the pool. We have a beautiful heated pool here and it's amazing. And I find it doesn't hurt my joints. It lets me take that weight off my joints while I can do an hour's exercise. I can't do an hour's exercise when I'm up and about. So you've got to think about your strategies of where, when, how and why
you want to do things. But I think it's very advantageous to see a chronic pain specialist. They do exist, and I think it's very helpful. There's a few things that you could do when you have anxiety, and you might all know these ones, but I put them in the pamphlets so that you can take them home with you. And one of them is the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which is I want you to, when you're anxious, think of 5 things that you can see. So it might be the coffee machine, the tea on the wall, whatever. At home, it'll be lots of different things. 4 things that you feel. So it might be an orange cup of coffee or whatever's in your environment. 3 things that you hear, 2 things that you smell, and 1 thing that you taste. So that's a really good tool to use when you're anxious. You go back to it and keep repeating that. Another thing we can do with anxiety and pain is do a 3, 4, 5 breathing. And the reason it works is because breathing in slowly and holding the breath and then exhaling in a controlled manner means that you have successfully slowed down your heart just a little bit, and that drops your cortisol and all those things that give you that fight and flight. So you want to go back and control that. So we can probably do this now. I want you to completely exhale through your mouth. Inhale through your nose to count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold your breath for a count of 4. Exhale completely through your mouth for a count of 5. And you can do that and repeat that until you feel a bit calmer, because it's actually working on the rest of your body. So that's one of those little things that's really good. Another thing I like is affirmations. So one of these is, I'm okay, this is just anxiety or pain, and I will get past this. And you just repeat that mantra to help you move through that moment when it all got really overwhelming. And I think we all have those overwhelming moments. Another one is, I have a great life and I'm looking forward till tomorrow. And I know some of us have really bad feelings, so we've got to look at what's good in our lives, the beautiful. Those grandkids, I might not be able to run after them, but when I walk in the door, they run at me and have their arms out, so I am so blessed. And the third one I've got down here that's in your little booklet is, my pain and anxiety won't control me. Because sometimes when you're losing it a bit, you're having a really bad pain day, you're in a fibro flare, things are not working, you feel overwhelmed, and let's have a little tenacity, I think it is, and you say, you're not going to control me, I control you. And the next thing I wanted to talk about is, everyone's heard of spoon theory? Yep. So one of the things I wanted to say is that we want to use our spoon theory carefully. So we'll all come here today. So let me tell you what my day was yesterday. I did a little bit at the computer so that I was ready for today. I had a rest. I made dinner with my son, so he did all the veggies and stuff, and I just shoved a chicken in the oven. Let me see, I just had a really quiet day. I had a shower before I went to bed, and I went to bed before 10 o'clock because I knew I had to get up. So I planned my day yesterday so that I didn't have to get up and have a shower and find clothes and all that sort of stuff. That was all laid out. I had my dress hanging up, I had my meds ready, I had all the things I needed to do in the morning set up so that when I got up this morning, it wasn't overwhelming. I wasn't going to be finished getting dressed and feel like I was going to fall down in a heap because I was searching for this and whatnot. Everything was organised and out of the way, and I did it over a couple of days so that I could come and feel well. Next one. Mindfulness. It's a brilliant technique. Now, one of the things with mindfulness is we only associate it with meditation, and meditation's really good. I run a meditation group every week in my home. It's very full though. Mindfulness, like meditation, yoga, various things we can do, help us be in the now, in the moment, And you'll find that when you're doing meditation, and there's some great led meditations on YouTube, there's ones where you can just listen to the music, and I quite often do that at night when I'm going to bed. I'll sit there and do meditation before I go to bed, and that just helps put me in that calm, relaxed state. But you can do other things. If you're not someone who can lie there and listen to the music and be in the moment, and some of us just are not, there are other things you can do to get your mind off all our issues and our worries and our problems. So one of the things that I've had friends say that they've done is, one friend, strangely enough, liked running. She was very young, very fit then. So she would reach a mindful state running, because it's a repeated, non-thinking sort of thing that she could do. So every time she had a bad thought, she'd focus back on her running. Those mindful colouring in books, they're great. Doodling's great. You can do a variety of things, and they're still increasing your mindfulness. And being in the moment, being mindful is very helpful. Now, part of the mindful journey is gratitude. Gratitude is being grateful for people, for opportunity. I think the goal of gratitude for me is always to be grateful for me. I know people don't say that very often, but I have to be grateful for me. I am so lucky, I'm so blessed to have all these beautiful people in my life. So gratitude keeps me looking at that positive. And when you say or write down in a journal gratitude, then look at your life in a different way. And if you repeat something enough, it becomes part of your mental lexicon of things that help you. Let me talk about some tips and tricks. One of the things that I got from my pain clinic journey, because it blocks those pain receptors. It distracts them more than blocks. It doesn't block it, it distracts them. So your body is more aware of what's here than the fact that the left leg is achy. I go to, because I don't like having to increase my painkillers or anything like that. I would much rather learn how to deal with the pain, and I think very much you need to look at all sorts of different methods and find what works for you. We're pretty much done. Thank you so very much.
Thank you very much for sharing those techniques and for your time today.